Recording.
All right, we're on our test ride of all the modifications we did to this DRZ, including our chain and sprockets, which is kind of a simple thing. We're back on full-on street tires. We've got the kickstart and E-model cams. We've got our manual petcock. What all did we do? It's been over the last couple weeks because I had a boo-boo. We're not going to talk about that. All right, we will talk about it. I damaged the kickstart shaft seal, and so I had to get another one. It's kind of a bummer. I got a little overconfident, and when I was setting it, I got it sideways and bent the backing on it, the metal support structure of the seal, and I had to wait on that. But literally, you know, there's some controls that I'm not used to. These what are these? ASV controls. So I'm a little bit uncomfortable right out of the gate here. The brake lever setting up way too high for me. I like it a little bit more forward. I think the bars have been kind of adjusted a certain way, but I'm just checking it out real quick. I'm just kind of letting this bike get to know the new components before we go flogging it. And I've went over our jetting just a little bit. Oops, sorry peoples. Got some people pulling into the parking lot behind me, so I'm not trying to hold them back. But this is as controlled of an environment that I can get to close to work here, or my home. So I'm going to go ahead and shut it off real quick, and then we're going to look at it. I'm in neutral. Now, I haven't finalized our location for our fuel hose. We had some interference over here with the carburetor, so I'm kind of putting it a little outside here. I will finalize this with some zip ties and once I realize that it's going to be here. But you see how close the clutch or the choke comes to it. But that works. We've got our pretty chain and sprockets over here. We've got our nice red chain, and I've removed the packing grease off of it last night and lubricated it. I did the finalization on our fuel line here because it was just a little bit of interference and it was putting a slight crease in it. We got our kickstart over here on this side. Obviously, we have our factory. We have our factory pipe guard on here, and you can see it's got a divot in it. Why does it have it in there? To accommodate the kickstart. There it is. So we're looking pretty good over here. He's got his brake lines in place. Everything's looking pretty good. I'm just checking it over. So, because what I was going to do is I'm going to get on this thing and kickstart it for you. So I still have my fuel line on here. I got to turn it on, turn the key on. I know you can't see it all. Let's see. I'm at TDC. Easy peasy. Everything's looking good. We're not leaking a whole bunch of fluid or anything, thank goodness. Okay, so it does have kind of a, has kind of a power band on it. Yeah, it has kind of like a secondary timing effect on it, which is kind of nice. Instead of like the I mean, there's a little bit of one on it from the stock cams, and we may need to adjust our jetting accordingly, but you know, that's going to be a process here. Yeah, but there's definitely, as our RPMs, we roll into the RPMs a little bit, it does affect, it does have kind of like a secondary pull, similar to my bike, you know, which has the stage 2 hot cams in it, but with the stroker big bore. Like if I just pulled on it like what I did with this one, or on this one like I do with the stroker big bore, it would just flip over. Let's see. So just throttle alone, it doesn't have the pizzazz that my bike does, but again, I'm not flogging it real hard. But we're just testing our power here. So there's definitely a secondary power that comes on, and there's a hit that it hits with it. So that's nice. Nice little quality that comes on with it. But I think he'll be well pleased. I'm just making observations while trying to make a video to reach some conclusions here. Yeah, it definitely comes on a little different. I may need to change our needle a little bit, because I think our cams might be opening our valves a little bit sooner. Yep, there's definitely a hit. As it pulls. It's definitely, there's definitely a change in the dynamic of this engine. It's pretty feisty. I left his brake settings the same, and it left it squishy. He's adjusted it to that engagement point, and I don't really care for it. But, you know, this isn't a wheelie video. I'm just trying to gauge how the power comes on. But there's no hesitation, which would be an indication of a jet size or something like that. So I'm kind of in evaluation mode here. But yeah, that's the idea here, is just not necessarily to try to do wheelies, but when you let off the throttle, it'll do it no problem. Let off the throttle. You got to ask it a little bit, but you have to kind of, the power band on this is in a different place where it used to be. Of course, I haven't been riding this bike that much like I used to either. But definitely first gear. So first gear, you know, it'll pull it right up without any issue. Second gear, it'll pull it up, but it has a power band, so I give it a little encouragement. But I'm going to wear out my welcome here, so So it's a little cranky. Yeah, it definitely has a power band to it now, rather than just being flat and you just got to ask it for everything. And I'm a little rusty because we're just now still in winter, so, and I'm not a wheelieologist, but that would be my description. Is this it definitely has more of a power band now, and that's fairly welcome. You got to take into consideration that this this bike has the suspension on it. It's got aftermarket brake lines. Like, ooh, yeah. The front's coming in, but I would like it just a little bit more rolled forward. And I'd like that rear brake to not be so squishy. That would be ideal. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do not really a top speed pull. I was just taking a look at our thermostat over here, because there's a thermostat on the gas cap. And making sure we're not getting hot or anything, which we're not. It's running normal temperatures for ding-donging around in a parking lot. I think I know who that is. So we're going to get up to cruising speed here. Thought about going around them, but that just would be rude. So all we're really doing here, the idea is just evaluating things. So that was obviously 4th gear, now we're in 5th gear. Everything's looking pretty happy down there. So we're going 65, oh, now we're going 65. Pretty simple. Nice, easy 65 mile an hour. And with the FCR, it really cruises nicely on the highway at 65. We get up to 70 relatively easy. I'm going to get over here and I'm going to turn around and do a quick pull and just see what kind of data we can get here. Also, notice that I was off pretty good throttle there and I let off the gas. Now I'm remembering a dummy. We also did the block off of the emissions. There's 90. Miles an hour. assuming that the factory speedometer is correct. And it is kind of what it is. Overall, it feels all right. I think we're in good shape. Still cruising around in 70, doing nice, feeling good. It looks good. I guess that's what you would call a hard break-in on the new chain, I guess. The E model cams. They were already well broken in as they are used. Okay, so let's go over here. We got our, let me see if I can set up a Kansas sunset over here. Kansas, Mexico, that is. Okay. Kansas, Mexico. So here's our bike. It's looking good. Thank goodness it's not leaking anything. Got our kickstart. Looking good. You gotta like the Red Bull mod. So yeah, so what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna ride this to the gym. I'm gonna ride my 470 to the gym, and I'm gonna make some comparisons. So we're gonna continue with that in just a second.
Recording.
All right, we're back, and we're on the 470 this time. I want to take note that we have this comparison to make it somewhat fair. They are the same gearing, the same internals, final drive, and same internals. This is not a wide ratio, but the only thing that is different now is that I have a 150 70 17 on this 470 engine, and the stock engine, the one we've been working on, has a 150 60, which I know is not stock. But what I'm doing right now is, well, I'm not going to say anything about it, but just proximity dictates that I need to warm this engine up. I haven't really warmed my engine up to really make comparisons as of yet. But my brake is not squishy. And I'm saying squishy, it's not because it's got air in his line, it's because of how he has it adjusted about engagement. So, but we may adapt that somewhat, we may not. But I didn't want to ride all the way to the gym in that, for that distance, which isn't a long ways. I wanted to give it an honest evaluation. Okay, and also obviously this bike has a true FCR carburetor on it. But just simply giving it gas in first results in that, and with this engine, and just giving it gas with a little bit of a delay. I'm not a wheelie professional, but just giving it gas with a little bit of encouragement, I guess, in second. With a clutch, if you got the timing right. Of course, if you got one with an FCR on it, you're going to have to adjust your timing of how you slip the clutch, because it's different. It may be a little faster or whatever than the BSR carb. But definitely this bike hits like a ton of bricks. Again, and for comparison here, that's like a quarter throttle, if that, in first gear. That's the thing that I'm displaying here. It's not like, oh wow, this thing pops it up in first. It's literally, if I give it all the throttle, it'll flip all the way over. It will flip over, and it may, I probably would be able to get away with putting some rear brake on it, but I don't want to smoke my rear brake trying to show that it can save you while you're on the gas. And again, I just want to make sure that disclaimer is there. But just again, first gear, again, true FCR 39. They both have FCR 39s, but just giving it some gas in first, and giving it some gas and some encouragement in second, and it pulls itself up. And again, it's kind of a chaser wheelie, but that's not the point here. I'm trying to describe and show the power of it. So at this point, I might cut it off, but I might just add this to the video for this at this point. So in this case, if we are into it right now, I just want to thank you for watching.